if you don't know this concept, you are missing out on actual self-improvement. This concept is so strong. It is used by every guru and every psychologist you admire on the internet, and they are basically rebranding, repackaging it, remixing it, and then sell it to you as transformation course, workshop, event for hundreds and thousands of dollars. This concept reframed the reality for me, and it will do the same for you. If you keep ignoring it or don't engage with it whatsoever, you will always get stuck in the same loop over and over again, and you will call it fate. On this channel, we go beyond the smoke. My name is Homam. Let's get into it. Here's how I stumbled upon the shadow work by mistake before I realized it was called shadow work. So I was sitting alone with ChatGPT day and night, asking the questions that are like related to shame, related to criticism, to self-image, why I do this, why I feel this way, why I'm triggered like this, why I'm not triggered like this. And it builds up. And the deeper I go, the more I make a better understanding of my behaviors. And so I reached a point where I understood my relationship with smoking. It was to feel superiority because of consecutive moments I felt weak, vulnerable, and owned, especially by my father. And so after I realized that, I didn't look at myself as a smoker anymore. I was actually a non-smoker who got trapped in smoking because of this series of events that were mentally draining for me, that made me feel vulnerable, that made me feel weak. And so I smoked to feel superior. And when I stopped numbing that pain and took it head on, I then realized that I'm not a smoker. I am a non-smoker who got stuck in smoking to cope with the reality that I was once weak. That took 12 years of my life to realize. I smoked over 30 cigarettes per day for 12 years. And the day I quit cold turkey, no introductions, no patches, no gum, no bullshit. It was just me versus me. I quit and there was no going back. Since then, that's how powerful the shadow work is. If I want to define it from my experience, it's being brutally honest about your impulses and how they are formed, and what can you do or not do about them, what to keep, what to drop. Imagine if you have a house, right? Every house has nice rooms, living room, etc. And then you have the basement that you throw shit at, that you don't remember, right? And basically doing the shadow work is opening this basement and taking a look, and you see what's useful. That's what shadow work in its simplest form. What it is not, it's not about complaining about the past. It's not about a certain control of actions. It's about understanding them and make them work for you. Use the past as a fuel, not as shackles, not as a reason to destroy yourself even more. That's what shadow work is. What is not shadow work is these big events where the instructor is barefoot on the stage and telling the crowd to hum and breathe with them. That's not shadow work. That's collective mental masturbation, and it is entertainment. That is performance. That's not about introspection. That's not about asking the hard questions. The shadow work is lonely journey. You can have guided shadow work, right, with a coach that takes you step by step, for example, but you can't do it collectively, like on a big scale, right? It can only be done because it's personal trip. You do it yourself, only for yourself. If you do it with groups, it's gonna be more about having a party together. Then it becomes about feeling good. It becomes about positive affirmations. That's not shadow work. Shadow work is usually ugly, and the deeper you go, the uglier it gets. To the point, saying it out loud would sound insane. Let's take what we talked about and put it into practice. For example, let's solve the problem of why am I masturbating to porn. By the way, this struggle is not only for singles, it's also for married people. I struggled with it myself. I know how it feels. It is shameful to admit it, but it is reality. Here's what happens. You first analyze from a third perspective without judgment. You watch yourself. Why am I watching this certain type of porn? Seeing this, what does it say to me? Why I feel connected with this? Because maybe you felt because maybe you got your heart broken before, maybe you had a bad mother figure before. And so you see, when you ask the question behind the action, it becomes very ugly very quickly. And that's what shadow work is to integrate these parts of you that is controlling from behind the scenes what's going to happen in your life. Neglecting it has a big cost. For example, I didn't do shadow work in my 20s. What happened was that I was going to the gym, I was training on handstands, and but I used to smoke, and I didn't do proper shadow work. I had no guidance back then, aside from the YouTube bullcrap that you try to apply but never works, right? And I made some progress in the gym, but I ultimately quit, and I kept smoking. And when the COVID thing came, I had nothing to do in home. I was just sitting and slothing. I was wasting time. I was smoking all day and night. I was binge eating and watching porn all day long. Carl Jung, the inventor of this concept, said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life and you will call it fate. You see, not only action has consequences, but inaction as well. And so this video is an invitation for you to do introspection. I included some files in the description. You can use them to start this process by quitting addiction or a bad pattern you have in your life. That's where it begins. And it's a very hard journey. And this channel is made to document every step of the way. Everything I learn through my introspection, I will give it to you here on this channel. Every new concept I get into, I analyze it and I provide it to you. My goal with this channel is to be the guy I wish existed back in my 20s. In the next video, we'll be talking about the persona, another weapon you can put in your arsenal to navigate reality with more precision. Goodbye.